Hello my YouTube friends, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. My name is Chris. Today's video is all about dreamy, ethereal, angelic type fragrances I do request, and I had several of you request that I do this video, and I'm always happy to oblige. So if you have any content you'd like me to do, let me know in the comments below. But when I think of a fragrance being angelic, I think of it typically being very, light wearing, very innocent, very ethereal, usually powdery, sometimes musky. There are a few gourmand leaning fragrances that do have like an angelic and an ethereal edge. And with that, I'm just going to get started because I have a lot of dreamy, soft, light, fluffy, angelic fragrances. Now, the first two fragrances I thought of when I thought about pulling perfumes for this video, well, one of the first ones was Chanel 1957. I adore this perfume. Relatively new in my collection. I got it last year and it really kind of shot up to the top of my favorites for the Chanel line. This is clean and powdery and soft and angelic, and it has like the prettiest musk. It's like a beautiful angelic floral musk. There are a lot of aldehydes, but it's not overly soapy or screechy. It just has a soft cleanliness to it. Really kind of heavenly musk. It's really a musk perfume. And the flower that I get in here, I get iris. It's powdery and fluffy and soft, not quite lipsticky, but kind of heading in that direction. And I could see this as somebody's wedding scent. Definitely a signature scent and just something I could wear every day when I just want to feel classy and angelic and ethereal. The next perfume I thought of, because I've always said that this perfume reminds me of, it makes me think of an angel on the beach. And it is Très Cher by Maison Cher. And I don't know why I've always thought of that, but when I smell it, it just smells very angelic. It is a vanilla fragrance. It's a clean, a little bit fresh, bright, not quite soapy, aldehydic vanilla with some soft woods in the background and some very, very soft florals. This is one fragrance that I do wear to work because it is so light and angelic and ethereal smelling. It has this light, lovely powderiness to it. And something, I'm not sure why I'm getting beach or water, but there's something like a sea spray in the background, like a very subtle, salty, saline, vanilla, but with some florals. The florals are definitely there, but they are, blended in the background. It's probably jasmine and orange blossom, but I would say the vanilla is slightly the leading role and probably a little bit of sandalwood or maybe driftwood in the base. And once people will not smell this on you until they get really, really close and in your tight scent bubble. And once that happens, what usually happens is someone will say, you smell really pretty, very light, very soft. And it's usually Très Cher. Another fragrance that I always thought smelled like an angel. In fact, when my daughter, she had this activity with her high school. She goes to an all-girls high school, and they had to dress up in all white, and she just looked like an angel. She looked like an angel. She looked so beautiful. And I asked her if I could pick out her perfume to wear. She said, of course, Mom. And the one I picked out was Vanilla Planifolia by Chloe. This just has this beautiful, sweet, vanillic, floral powderiness to it. It wears very softly, very lightly. I think every single one of these has the same type of a wear. None of these, people are not going to smell you down the hall, and that's part of what gives them this innocence and this angelic quality. This one is like vanilla and, vanilla orchid, but to me, it's one of those green vanillas, and it's a floral vanilla that smells like banana. I get this, lovely, soft, very powdery, banana-esque vibe, almost as if you peeled a banana and it was a little bit on the unripe side, and then you dusted some vanilla powder on one of the banana peels and you let it set for about a day. That's kind of the smell. So it's this sweet, soft, powdery green vanilla. I love it. And again, very light, very dainty, very angelic wearing. I never thought I would say an oud or a fragrance that has oud in it would come across as being angelic. And if there is one perfume that kind of fits that bill. It is Oud Nude by Guerlain. This is, of course, it has a little bit of that Guerlain vanilla, but the vanilla is not the star player. It has this very dusty, light, soft, powdery, almost crystalline raspberry. And it has this dusty almond that's not quite green, and it's not, sometimes almond smells like an almond shell. It's a little bit earthy and dry. It's dry and soft and powdery, but it's not too earthy. So it has this very light fluffiness to it. This smells so pretty, so cozy, so fluffy, so elegant, so light, and it does have oud. You can smell the oud, but it has none of that skankiness. It's like an angelic oud. If you could have one, it's in here. So a really good beginner oud with some lovely soft powdery, you know, dusty raspberry, almost smells a little bit cherry, almond, and that soft, subtle Guerlain vanilla in the background. Oh, I love it, and it's gonna be great for the spring. Okay, two more very angelic, almost celestial fragrances. One is, you guys know I love this perfume, Le Papier. I bought it blindly, one of the most successful blind buys in my collection, but I just knew I would love it. That steamed rice accord is very soft. It has a sweetness to it, but it's not sweet. And it has that savory steamed rice accord, but it's not savory because it's musky, it's fluffy, it's powdery, it's soft. It has some lovely yellowed florals in the background. I want to say mimosa. It has this mimosa touch, a little bit of a honeyed sweetness without being, you know, thick and syrupy. Everything about this says light. Everything about this says angelic and soft and powdery. And it just so happens that this was my Easter fragrance 2 years in a row because it just feels very angelic and ethereal. Talk about a celestial fragrance of the heavens is Apollonia. And I do think this is supposed to smell like moon dust, sweet moon dust. And it's very, very musky, it's soft, it's powdery, and it does have a slight earthiness to it without being dark and dank and damp. It's still very dry. It's very musky. It has very, very soft florals. You know, Xerjoff doesn't always, you know, they vault a lot of their notes, but I do get, you know, some soft, fluffy florals. I would guess iris because it's a little bit powdery. It's soft. It has a sweetness to it, but it's not quite sweet. It's not a sweet perfume, and it's definitely not a gourmand. I get a powderiness, I get a gentle sweetness, but I also get something in the background that has a little bit of heft, you know, that makes me think of like the surface of the moon. There is something in here. I get like this dusted, dehydrated blueberry. This almost smells like a blueberry scone mix. You know, all you need to add is like water and butter, and then you have a beautiful scone. But they always smell good, but they're very powdery and soft and fluffy. And I don't know, maybe there's a little note or a chord of blueberry in here, and they're just not listing it because I just get that, and it's so pretty and very, very office appropriate. Okay, I have a few cleanly formulated fragrances that happen to be vanilla based. One of my newest pickups is one by Henry Rose, which just happens to be one of my favorite cleanly formulated brands. I think just about everything they do is beautiful. I don't hate any of the fragrances in their line. Maybe some of them weren't full bottle worthy, but I've enjoyed almost every one of them. And they had some fragrances that they considered, I think, vanilla, you know, a gourmand, but they really were never gourmand into the true gourmand territory until their newest release. Dave, I love this. This is a true gourmand, and I want to say the main note in here is like a whipped cream or a milk cream, something along those lines. So it's a chantilly cream or a whipped cream. Anyways, it's a light, fluffy, very ethereal vanilla cream. There's also vanilla in here, and there has to be musk. Most of these fragrances open very green. They usually have the Henry Rose fragrances typically have like an ivy opening or a green grass opening or vetiver, something along those lines. Neroli, there's none of that. This is really a creamy, whipped, light, fluffy, natural gourmand that doesn't smell too sweet. And it has this lovely, I'm guessing it's probably ambrette because there's something light and fluffy about this. I did wear this to work twice and it went over very, very well. It's not super loud and strong, but once you get kind of in my scent bubble, you can smell it. It's very, very pleasant. I can't imagine someone hating this. A very light, fluffy vanilla musk with an understated elegance and, you know, great for people who like cleanly formulated fragrances, want something vanilla, but don't want too far into the gourmand category, but definitely want something that has a light gourmand flair. Another fabulous, cleanly formulated brand. I love this brand. It is by Dyad or Dyad Candle. They started off making candles and now they make, you know, body sprays and body oils and beautiful perfumes. I have 2 of them. And Highs and Lows is so beautiful. It is a vanilla musk. Now I know it has other notes in here. I want to say very, very light fruitiness. I think it's apple and some very, very light florals. I would guess like a water lily or a water lotus because it's just very soft. It's very light. It's very fluffy. It's very clean. This is a very, very clean fragrance. This is like perfect when it's fresh, you're fresh out of the shower, something very calming, something very soothing. I love to wear this at night. Their other perfume that I love to wear in the summertime, it's more of a floral, it's like a fruity floral. I love to wear that during the hot days. This is something that's great at night. It could be an everyday scent. Another vanilla that's not too gourmand. It does not lean too far into the gourmand category. In fact, if you like really, really sweet vanillas, you're not going to think this is sweet at all. And this one has a lot more, you know, lasting power, particularly on my clothes. I have found that this lasts, you know, well over 24 hours on my clothes. And I just adore it. It's easy, it's light, it's ethereal, it's clean, soft, and just so soothing and calming. Another very light, angelic, very easy wear is by Chapel Factory. I've shown this a couple times. This is called Baptisma. This is for if you guys love lemon verbena with a little touch of very soft, fluffy sweetness, this is fabulous. And you don't mind that your fragrance doesn't last forever. Lemon verbena, so this is mainly a lemon verbena, like musk and very soft vanilla fragrance. It's very angelic. When I just smelled it, I just thought clean and fresh and light and innocent. I love to wear this in the dead of summer. Like one of the very, very few fragrances I would pull for when it's like 100 degrees, 95 degrees, because it has a lightness to it. That lemon verbena is very, very, it's typically, it can be soapy, like really soapy. It's just fresh and light without being screechy. And whatever sweetness is in here is very, very subtle and just offsets that lemon verbena. So it's not green at all or scratchy. It almost reminds me of a delicate lemon verbena gelato or ice cream, something not overly sweet, but light and whipped and airy. Another one that I've been wearing a lot, I think this is a great perfume to wear in the spring, is called White Rice. You know, I'm a big fan of that accord rice, and I usually try to scoop up every fragrance that has that accord in it. And I've been slowing down though. It seems like that is one of the more popular notes of this year at the end of last year. It seems like it's an up and coming accord and several fragrances that are being released. And I feel like I have plenty of those fragrances, but every once in a while when I see something that really kind of piques my interest and I think I would like, I will purchase it. And I got this one and I really love it. It is a rice floral musk, and it's just very soft wearing, very powdery, almost has that, there's something that smells clean about it and slightly aldehydic, but not quite into that Chanel zone, but it's getting there. It almost smells like a Chanel fragrance with those light florals. Again, I would guess iris, because iris is usually very soft, very powdery, slightly sweet. There's a slight earthiness to it. Maybe that's the rice. The rice is definitely giving it a powderiness, I think, in addition to the iris. Maybe there's vetiver in here, probably a little bit of sandalwood. This is so light. I've been popping this in my purse, wearing it during the day, It does wear lightly, so people, particularly when I've been asking, do you like the fragrance that I'm wearing? They're like, I can't really smell it until they smell my arm or get really, really close. So I think it's really a very easy fragrance to wear, particularly, you know, if you're going to be in a crowd, if you're going to be at work, because it does wear so lightly. But I don't think I will upsize to a bottle because I think this is perfect for me. And it's going to be a fragrance that I will wear as we go further into the warm weather. It's not warm here. It's cold. It's very, very cold, but we're getting there. The sun's out. There's a hint of spring in the air. A couple more sweet fragrances that smell very angelic and like they're heavenly gourmands. One of them is, you know, one of my favorite vanillas right now since I'm back. That was not very delicate and angelic of me, but one of my favorite vanillas of late, you can see by the dent, for me to have a dent like that is saying a lot. It's Gateau des Anges, which means angel cake or angel food cake. And it is, every time I smell this, my mouth absolutely waters. So it is very angelic, but it has a denseness to it, but it's not so dense that it weighs you down. There's something still very angelic about it. It opens, it has this candied sweetness, and it's like, you know, vanilla candy mixed with almost like a peach, those sweet peach rings. It has a very subtle peach sweetness, like a fruity sweetness. There's definitely something sweet and fruity without being syrupy. And then as this dries down, it has an accord of butter. This is a beautiful buttery angel food cake. And even though it wears lightly, I can smell it forever. It's that perfect combination. It's not too heavy. It's not too dense. It has a lightness to it, but it is persistent and it is delicious. I absolutely love it. Oh my gosh. I can't stop wearing this one. Another gourmand fragrance that wears very soft. It's an angelic gourmand to me. It is so pretty. I get loads of compliments on it. It's fairly new to me. I have a big dent in it. It's Yum. Oh, excuse me. I have hair in my eye. Yum Boujee Marshmallow. Boy, do I love this. It's whipped cream. It's vanilla. I want to say sugar crystals, strawberry. It just has this beautiful, angelic, light, musky, sweet, soft, powdery feel to it. And even though it has a lightness to it, let me tell you, you can smell it all day. I brought this to work, and there is one of my favorite people in the world, Colleen. She shares an office with me. We have a sliding door between us. So a lot of times she is my willing guinea pig. When I first got this, I brought this to work. I sprayed her or she sprayed herself 2 or 3 times. We could smell her all the way down the hall. But it was very, very light. It was just so intoxicating. You wanted to follow that scent trail to where it was. And I have tried so many perfumes on Colleen. She smells me every day. I always get feedback from her. She oftentimes wears things that I bring in. And this was the only perfume that she went home. She went home that day. So we sprayed at like 8 in the morning. She went home at the end of the day. Her husband and one of her sons, both of them, said, wow, you smell so good. And she ended up buying it from Sephora that night. That says a lot because Colleen has been through hundreds of perfumes with me, loves many of them, but actually went home and bought this one. But it's sweet and very persistent and light, and it lingers in the air, but it's just so light and beautiful. One of my favorite strawberry perfumes at the moment. A lot of you might disagree with me on this perfume, whether it's fits in this category. It's called Slogan, and I do. It kind of fits, it looks the part, and it almost smells like the bottle looks. It's a molecular fragrance. It's a molecular musky vanilla that has a modern edge to it. Now, I don't even think vanilla is listed. Boy, let me tell you, this is a sweet perfume. This is like ambroxan dipped in vanilla, but it's very light. It's very modern. It's very airy, but it is a very persistent fragrance. I sprayed this on my bathrobe and it lasted like the whole week until I wash the bathrobe. Some of you might think it's a little sweet. Some of you might not like it because it does have a prominent ambroxan. Sometimes I can be really sensitive to ambroxan, and sometimes like in here I just find it very addictive and intoxicating. It does have a very, very subtle, very slight aromatic edge, whether I want to say like juniper leaf or juniper berries in the background that kind of offsets the vanilla, offsets that musk, and offsets the ambroxan. I just love it, and I do think it just fits nicely in this, you know, category. Okay, the last one in this category, and definitely an angelic perfume, but it's a different kind of an angel. This perfume is really new to my collection. I had no idea I was going to love it like I did, and this is a water angel, if there's such a thing. This is beautiful. It's the newest by the House of Beau, and this is called Ave Maria. Now, for disclosure's purposes, this was kindly sent to me, and I will never ever rave about a fragrance that I don't love. I either won't show it or I will be diplomatic in my feelings. This one, I cannot believe how much I love this one. And I thought Espiritu was going to be my very, very favorite. I do love it. I don't know which one I love more. They're very, very different perfumes. But this is, in many, many ways, me in a bottle. This is a beautiful, dewy, soft, clean, fresh, ethereal, floral. It has the flowers that I love. It has gardenia, I want to say lily of the valley, neroli. It's just, I cannot stop smelling this perfume. I predict that this is going to be one of the best releases of 2025. I know we're just in March. It's March 1st, or is it March 2nd? We are just into March, and I'm predicting this is going to be a complete hit for the brand. It's so beautiful, so likable, and it's very unique. I have tons of white floral perfumes. I have tons of fragrances that have those notes because I'm a huge lover, for the most part, of white flowers, particularly neroli, orange blossom, and gardenia when they're done well. And this one is very, very unique because there's something so fresh. I don't know how they captured that dewiness, and it's the dewiness that makes it so angelic. It's almost like you see an angel coming out of this beautiful stream or river that's crystal clear, and there are like water lilies floating on the top and gardenias floating on the top, and you know, jasmine or neroli growing on the edges. It's just rained, the sun is out, and it's not humid at all. It's crisp, but there's just this, you can smell the water, you can smell the flowers after this beautiful rain. They are just drenched in this lovely dewiness. I keep going back to dewiness. And I think it's that dewiness that makes me think of something very ethereal and angelic. It does have, and it's not soapy. It is heavily floral without being soapy or aldehydic. And I think it has a note of like Merlot or some sort of wine in the background. I think it is Merlot. I don't get Merlot. I don't get anything dark about this fragrance. I would think it was more like a champagne without the bubbles. It does have this beautiful, soft, delicate, you know, sweetness to it without being overly sweet. It's not vanillic at all, and it's really not ambery. So I can see that it has this very light, you know, spirited sweetness. I mean, I guess I could see a Merlot, but like a light Merlot, a thinned out Merlot, or Merlot that has, you know what? Actually, it smells more to me like a rosé, like that type of a wine, a rosé, which has a little bit of sweetness, but it's not overly sweet, and it's light. It has a lightness to it. So to me, this has more of a rosé going on in the background than a Merlot, but it's, oh my gosh, it's absolutely beautiful. You are going to see a huge dent in this perfume. I'm going to wear it all the time, spring, summer, and early fall, because this is signature scent worthy. This is class, this is elegance, and I definitely think it fits into that aesthetic, you know, clean girl. I think they're calling it cool girl or it girl now vibe, but it just fits that aesthetic, and to me it's just classy and elegant and just timeless. I mean, it's just so darn beautiful. And that was it. those are my angelic fragrances. Fragrances to me that when I look at them or when I smell them, I just think of something very ethereal and light and fluffy and sweet and innocent and angelic. So let me know what you thought. Do you have any angelic fragrances that I did not mention? And if you do, let us all know down below. I hope you enjoyed your time with me. And if you did, I would love a big thumbs up. And thanks again for sticking around. Thanks for watching. And with that, I will see you on the next one.